Hey, thank you for joining us once again on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television. As usual, we do this every day from 7 a.m. To 9 a.m. We start with newspaper reviews, then we dive into conversations, critical conversations that shape our nation. And today isn't going to be any different as we are bringing you the best as usual. So once again, you're in for a very wonderful kickstart to your morning, as always. So thank you once again for joining us. Emeka Daniel is my name, and I'm not alone here this morning. Good morning, Tokwe.
Good morning, Daniel. You know, I was just trying to check, what do you call a day after something very important? You know, just like you say, Eve of Christmas, a day to Christmas. I don't know what you call a day after Workers' Day. I wanted to greet Nigerians with that specific word, but if I find it,
you can do it in Yoruba. there's always a word for it in Yoruba.
I don't know. Okay, easy. No, it's not Yajo. It's not Yajo. But yes, good morning, Nigerians. Thank you always for keeping faith with us on this amazing channel, your favorite channel, Western Spring Television. It is a day after Workers' Day, a day that has brought so many demands, fresh demands, you know, different discussions, enlightening discussions, you know, across the state. And right here on WSTV, this is what we do for you. We bring you enlightening and insightful conversations. And the first thing we do for you is to bring you abreast of what's going on around the world, and especially in our nation state, in Nigeria here, bringing you the headlines, details of the stories, and then bringing you quality analysis through the mouths of our analysts right here on all of our topical issues. My name is Temitope Ajijola Oluwaola, wishing you a beautiful morning and a great day after that celebration. Work is starting again afresh today, and today is Friday. You know, you're starting work afresh again after a day's break.
Absolutely.
And then it's Friday. We hope that you have a wonderful Friday and then a great weekend at the end of the day. But we'll dive into the show right here. Emeka, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. You know, sometimes, especially for workers after a holiday, I mean, today's Friday, you don't feel like it's a work day. You just want to relax.
Especially as it's very short day in some organizations. Some people will close around one thereabouts because, you know, the Muslim faithful will have to head on to prayers. And after that, it's always a lull, you know, at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Some don't even show up. I mean, some will just go to the offices, some are lounging. I'm talking about public servants now. Some are just relaxing, lounging. Sometimes it happens to everyone. I mean, sometimes you just wake up, you just don't feel like it.
Doing anything. You just want to like it. You just want to stay in bed, and not because you're down emotionally, but your body is just telling you a different thing. You just want to stay right there. And sometimes you wake up with a burst of energy and you just want to kick off. And you just start doing things. It happens to me after exams. You know, during exams, you find it hard to really keep up, you know, keep awake and then read and all of that. But after exams, I find that I keep waking up at that time of the night, and then I find nothing to do. I just begin to do unnecessary stuff. But, you know, the body, you need to just understand your body and listen to it. And it's at that time that you ask for leave. I mean, that's what that's one of the labor laws. You're entitled to your leave because your body tells you to take that rest and you need it.
Absolutely. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we move straight into the newspaper headline segment of the program. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We begin this morning from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. FG summons VCs as ICPC probes students' loan disbursement. Federal government summons vice chancellors as Independent and Corrupt Practices Commission probes students' loan disbursement. With a rider, ICPC says NEL Fund disbursed only 44.2 billion naira. That's talking about the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. They disbursed only 44.2 billion naira out of 203.8 billion naira received to 293,178 students in 299 institutions. Nelfund reacts. Quite an interesting one right there. They've disbursed 44.2 billion naira out of 203.8 billion naira received. That's still very very far from 50%. 44.2 out of 203. I mean, it's still very far. So let's we'll soon get to find out what exactly is going on right there. Why have they not disbursed so much? And even the disbursement, there have been controversies here and there. I mean, ICPC is looking into it. Some students are being charged extra. Some varsities, we saw that headline during the week. Some universities are charging the students extra on those loans. So a lot of things that ICPC will have to look into, because the funds are there. The question is, how are they being disbursed? How are they managing those funds at the end of the day? Away from that, moving on to other stories, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Nigerians react to new SMS transaction fee amid growing discontent over banking charges. Nigerians react to new SMS transaction fee amid growing discontent over banking charges. Nigerian banks have started charging 6 naira per SMS. It started yesterday. I know how many times I was charged yesterday, because most times you do one transaction. For me, you always get at least 2 SMSs, sometimes 3 SMSs. One for the transaction, another one for the notification, then another one for the charge on the transaction. I mean, sometimes it doesn't really make any sense. You're doing one transaction, you've been charged. Just imagine you do 5 transactions in a day.
I personally think it's absurd how Nigerian banks decided to celebrate Workers' Day yesterday. I mean, the charges were implemented. They kicked off yesterday. Immediately. I mean, I don't know, but I hope that we can all, have conversations around. And then it's not compulsory, like they said. You said you can opt out if you're not, satisfied with it. And I don't think it is actually. We cannot say it is exactly their fault, although we know that the bank will always charge you on everything. If they can, they will charge you on everything. But then I don't think it's their fault. We have to talk about the telecommunication sectors again, because tariffs have increased and everything has increased largely. And those are the conversations that we need to have.
Absolutely. Telecoms. But again, if you look at the banking system in Nigeria, I've always said it. I believe they are fleecing Nigerians. They are making too much money. The charges are just too much. You have multiplicity of charges. You're being charged for everything. It doesn't work like that elsewhere. For every single thing they do, they charge you. That is why banks are making so much profit in this economy. They are making so much profit. Like you said, it's not compulsory. But again, most Nigerians would need it. Look at the internet network situation in Nigeria. So you cannot rely on your apps to verify transactions. Most times, it is actually the SMS alerts that helps you verify, confirm that this transaction has gone through.
Especially for some banks that are swift with notification. I mean, before you even get the money in your hands, you're already alerted that something is happening. But I think that we can actually blame the banks for things that are direct to them, like the charges on the ATM withdrawal and all of those things. Those are specific to banks. But on this particular one, I think we need to face the people that are really concerned, telecommunications.
All right. Away from that, moving on to other stories, still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Umahi issues stop work. Umahi issues stop work order on Shagamu Ikweru Road. You might want to read that story on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. I am not quitting PDP, Adeleke tells Osun Stakeholders Forum. I am not quitting PDP, Adeleke tells Osun Stakeholders Forum. That's talking about the governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke. He has come out to say he is not quitting PDP. Well, that should be good news for the followers of PDP. Your governor has decided not to quit. We've been having, stories of, defections, cross-carpeting here and there. Even the governor of Akwa Ibom, he has said it again. He actually likened the PDP to a faulty aircraft. He said if you go to the airport, for instance, and you want to, you have a flight, you have a particular destination in mind, and you get there and you see the airline you initially booked has a faulty aircraft. He said, will you still go? And you want to just take another airline that the name doesn't really matter, that it's your destination that matters. That was his argument. So hinting again that he will likely dump the PDP. But for Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State, he's saying he's going to stick with the PDP. And I think that's a good one for them right there. Because looking at the South-South, the PDP stronghold in the South-South, has seriously been weakened by defections. Look at Rivers, look at Delta State, and now Akwa Ibom. So the South-South, which originally, traditionally, historically has been a PDP stronghold, is quite losing its strength. So let's see how this plays out. Away from that, moving on to other stories, still on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. On the top strip, National Political Summit, MPSG inaugurates Daniel Tambuwal, Awolowo Dosunmu, others as coordinating committee members. With riders, Anyanku calls for functional constitution. Summit's mission urgent for country's future stability. That's attributed to Tambuwal. Nigeria must commit to reforms that deepen democracy. That's according to Daniel. And we must adopt true federal constitution. 1999 constitution, a challenge. Awolowo Dosunmu. And finally, from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Mayday, Labour rejects tax reform bills. Wants retirement age to be 65 years. Governors, others hail workers on celebration. Labour rejects tax reform bills. Wants retirement age to be 65 years. Interesting one right there. Did you really think, although we're still going to talk about this later in the course of the program, but Labour pushing for 65 years retirement age. Is that really, I don't know how to put it.
I personally have a thing against that. How rational is that to ask for your retirement age to be, extended, or years of service extended? This is an age where in some climes, they are actually against that. It happened in France, I think earlier this year or late last year, when the government just extended their years of service. They were in the streets the following day. Yes, they were against it. They didn't want it.
Why you want to enslave us for life?
You're asking for your livelihood to be, to be bettered. You're asking for improved, livelihood. And then you're asking that same work environment that you're complaining of, you're asking that your stay there should be extended. When the government sits down to look at these things, I'm sure they will laugh, I was quite at the corners of the room, and they'll be like, what do you exactly want? You're saying that these working conditions are not favorable.
And you want more years.
You want more years in it. I think what we need to, to really tackle is to make sure that the working conditions are now favorable, that they're best suited. You're supposed to be fighting for your pensions, making sure that all of your gratuities will be paid as and when due, talking about your salaries to be paid as and when due, an increment in salaries and wages. Those are the things we need to be fighting for.
Absolutely.
Not extension. Extension will not even do you anything. They can extend it. They can. That's easy to do. They'll keep paying you what they were paying you. But then we just need to talk along constructive lines.
Absolutely.
And I think Nigerians are not deep thinkers.
Yeah. When I saw it, I was quite surprised. How on earth would you want to work till you're 65? What good will it do to Nigerian labor? You're complaining about the conditions, so you want them to extend again to 65. It's all about mindset. What were they thinking about? Is it just to protect? Are they saying people have to work till they are very old just for them to survive? Because if the conditions were fair enough, I mean, before then, you should be okay, comfortable.
Exactly.
I mean, to retire comfortably and not, I mean, trying to work till 65.
We have people retiring at 30, as young as 30. We have people retiring at 35, 40.
Yeah.
And so you still want to work at 65.
I retired very early. I retired very early as well.
I mean, and that's why you're saying that your children who are still at home, where do they fit in? You're asking for them to be employed. If you don't live there, how would they be employed? Nobody grows, you know, when the workforce, and then we need agile people in the workforce, not people who are old.
Absolutely. And that'll be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning.
All right, this morning, let's go through Daily Trust newspaper. And right here, just below the nameplate right there, Baba Ahmed to Atiku. Don't run for presidency again. And that's a piece of advice going to Atiku right there. Maiduguri barracks explosion. We thought it was Boko Haram attack, says residents. I don't know, but somehow I think that there is something fishy about that. We're talking about heat. I mean, you know, but I'm thinking that there is more to it, especially, you know, with the caliber of people that are being kept there. Boko Haram, you know, I mean, terrorists that you've put in there, or the leaders and all of that. And then suddenly there's a spark. So what happened? Did those people remain there? What happened? Were they moved? How many people were moved? Were anybody, I mean, were any of the prisoners or people being kept there, were they missing? Those are questions.
So many questions.
You know, that needs to be asked. So I personally don't, and it's because there has been lots of lies peddled by our leaders to the people that you really cannot trust any words that they say. So I don't know, but I just feel that there should be more. I mean, or there is more to that story than we're hearing. And so the residents are really, really right to actually, you know, have that fears that they thought, you know, Boko Haram, it was Boko Haram attack and all of that. But then we hope that we can have more information about what really happened. But then just beside that, Tinubu visits Katsina today to commission projects. All right. Just below that, the banner headline, ICPC probes students' loan scandal. Right. I don't think that this loan or much of disbursements have been made yet. And then there is already a lot of, you know, scandal around it. And that's what we say. When can Nigeria do something right? That you would not have to, you know, point fingers at anyone. Can we, anything about money, can we actually let it go smoothly? No. The leaders
the money actually goes smoothly, but it depends on where it is going. It goes smoothly. So it just depends on where it is going.
And that's it. So a direct flow. And that's why we talk about the Nigerian culture. We talk about the fact that Nigerians cannot stay in queue. They cannot, you know, they cannot just be formal. They cannot coordinate. And now leadership too. It has always been a problem. Absolutely. And it starts with every single Nigerian. And right here, just below that banner headline, bank customers weigh options over hike in SMS alert charges. That's on page 23 of Daily Trust newspaper. And Zamfara, how kidnapped chief imam family members were killed by bandits. Page 32. Northeast governors decry poor road network and sub-region. All right, that's on page 38 of Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And let's go to the bottom strip of this paper. It says, Workers' Day, NLC makes fresh demands. And this rider seeks 65-year retirement age for workers, rejects casualization. Well, big grammar and all. It's on page 7 and 8 of Daily Trust newspaper. Those are the headlines in Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
And from the Daily Trust newspaper, we move to the Nation newspaper. Let us check out some of the stories making the rounds on the front page of the Nation this morning. Tinubu assures of better deal as workers make 20 demands. Tinubu assures of better deal as workers make 20 demands. With a rider, Minister lists 13 pro-worker interventionist programs. Minister lists 13 pro-worker interventionist programs. And inside, you have Edo raises minimum wage from 70,000 naira to 75,000 naira. Oh, what a huge relief. All right, Edo State. I mean, raising minimum wage by 5,000 naira from 70 to 75,000. I think we should be clapping for the Edo State government right now. Congratulations, you have done extremely well.
You've been doing a lot of clapping then. Go ahead.
Away from that. Okay, below that we have Ebonyi gives workers 10,000 naira Mayday reward. Yeah, the governor of Ebonyi State, he gave them a Mayday reward. That's Governor Winfuru, giving them 10,000 naira. I think that one is just a one-off, Mayday reward, saying you guys have done well. Just take this 10,000 naira. I mean, and buy yourself a bag of rice. Congratulations. That's it right there. And below that, Abia, we've paid 30 billion naira to clear inherited salaries, pensions. We've paid 30 billion naira to clear inherited salaries and pensions, all about workers and salaries and pensions. And the economic hardship is really biting hard on a lot of people. And when we hear some of these stories, you begin to wonder, I mean, some workers in Nigeria are working under precarious conditions. Some are just, majority are just trying to survive. I saw a lot of reports. I mean, Nigerian workers are just trying to survive. If you do a comparison, there was a time on the program I did a comparison of minimum wages across African countries. You'll be shocked to see that Nigerians are one of the least paid workers in Africa. When you have even smaller countries, I'm talking about countries like Lesotho, I mean, paying more than Nigeria. I was shocked when I did the analysis, and that's exactly, that's the truth, that's a fact. Away from that, moving on to other stories on the front page of the Nation this morning. Minister ICPC open probe into student loan violations. Minister ICPC open probe into student loan violations. Vice Chancellors summoned. Still talking about the NEL Fund controversy right there. And finally, from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, right in that picture, the Nation rather, we can see from left, Minister of State for Labor, that's Nkiruka Onyejocha. Please forgive me, my brothers from the Northeast, I didn't get that one correctly. Nkiruka Onyejocha, I guess it was well spelled as well. Yeah. Then of course we have a Gyro, then we have the Ngadi, and Osifo and others yesterday during the May Day celebrations. And that'll be all from the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning.
All right, so let's move on to the Punch newspapers. Have you taken the Punch already?
No.
All right, the Punch newspaper, and the banner headline says, Mayday, Labour pushes for tax cut, pension overhaul, and fresh 20 points demand. All right, it's a huge profile right there. And this rider, Tinubu governors pledge better deals for workers as NLC, TSC insist on new demands. Tinubu is pledging, governors are pledging, all right there, better deals for workers. Personally, I feel like if you want to better the lives of people, you do not have to, just like they say, you don't need to have a special day to celebrate people. You can celebrate them any day that you choose, and that day then becomes a special day. And so Tinubu and the governors wanted to actually sincerely and genuinely, better the lives of workers. You do not need them to have a workers' day. You do not need to wait for a workers' day. You do not need to wait for elections. You do not need to wait for campaigns before you better the lives of people. And we're talking about an administration that has sworn several times over and over again to better the working conditions, to better every sector, health, education, and all of that. And right here, we're having these promises again. I think that there's already an apathy towards all of the promises. People no longer believe in the words of the leaders. They try instead to mitigate all of these, factors themselves. They try to to weather the storms themselves. And that's why you see crime on the rise, because they can no longer put their tomorrow, their hopes in the hands of their leaders. They believe that their leaders are living all for themselves and by themselves.
I think it has always been like that.
Yes.
People should always take, most times, especially here in Nigeria, when leaders have lied to citizens over and over again. So it's just advisable that you take what they say with a pinch of salt. You don't just believe everything. You don't just digest it, hook, line, and sinker. No. So it has always been like that.
We just hope that this promises this time, maybe this is a time for change indeed. And this promises this time will hold water. Now, moving ahead, you can see several pictorial celebrations of the Workers' Day. We can see that from Lagos. You can see the governor right there on the podium. You can see from Ogun, Governor Dapo Abiodun is right there as well. And then you can see that from Cross River, the march past. And then from Kaduna as well. Severally, even in Osun here, they were also at their celebration spot yesterday. Governors joined workers to celebrate May Day in Lagos, Kaduna, others right there. It's supposed to be a day to really, really, appreciate the efforts the leadership is putting in making the lives of workers better. But instead, although we know that like olive trees, they will never be satisfied, but then it should be, few demands. But we have huge demand, 20-point long. We're going to be, talking about that later in the course of the program. All right. And then right there to the bottom strip, AFTB launches $650 million yearly economic support for Nigeria. African Development Bank right there. 73 killed, 393 injured in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway crashes in 3 months. That's on pages 4 and 5 of Punch newspaper this morning. And Sports Festival arrested Ekiti athletes regain freedom. That's on page 30 of Punch newspaper. Let's move to just above the nameplate there. Political showdown looms over FBI's Tinubu file release. Political showdown looms over FBI's Tinubu file release. And that's on page 30 as well. It's going to be quite interesting again. As opposition, we'll see something to chew on again and again. Electricity subsidy spending balloons to 762 billion naira. That's on page 20. And Wike Fubara to begin dialogue after Oshoba's mediation. That's on page 30. I saw somewhere that Fubara tendered or called for reconciliation this week. Yeah. That's to be expected. You find several stakeholders, talking about you have to, no matter what, keep our mandate. I mean, the people as well who gave him a mandate would also want him to do whatever it would take, such as, and they say in Yoruba, they say that you cannot, prostrate for something, and you say,
you talk about you're a Yoruba lady. You say it in Yoruba. You feel free.
I want everybody to hear. But, just saying sorry would not mean that you will not get where you will get to and all of that. But then